Some time ago, I was on a TV series called Fernwood Tonight. Thank you very much. And thank you. But okay, please come on. We'll never get through this if you don't stop. It was a wonderful show, and I was on with Martin Mull and a gentleman named Frank Devol, who played Happy Kyne, the band leader there, and he is our guest sitting right here. Frank,
yeah? I
would say good to see you again, but I've seen you several times since the show went off the air. And when I first started the show, I saw you, and I said, oh, they've hired a funny guy to play the part of a band leader. Then I saw you singing and playing instruments. And I said, oh, he can kind of play, too. Since then, every time I mention the name Frank Devol to a musician, they go on and on about, do you know what this man has done? Do you know what he did? I hear stories about your musical background, and I know for some reason you don't like to talk about it. You've worked, though, with people like, correct me, am I wrong, Frank Sinatra?
No, I've never.
First, right off the bat, it was that's why you don't like to talk about it. I wonder why you're so
close.
That's right.
I mean, I haven't worked.
But you've worked with
Harry Ream.
Harry Ream, and I'm going to do a little something. We worked very serious, like scoring films and all. But listen to this. There's a lady, who was bringing up Tree Berry. Huh? That's the theme. Now I sang that for a reason because
that was
now
Family
maybe
Affair, I think.
No, you forget now.
Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch, and I sang that so ASCAP will have to pay a few dollars. I guess legally it's maybe about $2,000. Who knows? But you not only wrote Brady Bunch theme.
Yeah.
You wrote the theme to the Family Affair. You wrote the theme to My Three Sons. Now it goes on and on. You wrote the music to The Happening, the big hit song Diana Ross had. It was
That's right. Yeah.
And hey, look at me, do. Is that it? You forget.
It goes
okay,
something like that, Fred. I mean, it's a little
and
different than your singing.
Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte, you wrote?
Yes, yeah. She never answered.
Uh-oh.
That's an old joke.
Is it? Oh, now I just learned today.
Do you want me to give you some more?
Oh, well, I just learned today that you wrote, it said you were responsible for the arrangement of Nature Boy by Nat King Cole. Is that right?
Yeah. Nobody here remembers that, though.
I remember. There was a boy. Right?
You're right.
And what's the other one? I just, Que Sera Sera. You arranged that, right?
Yeah, for Doris Day.
Well, that is terrific.
You know that she didn't want that released. They put it on the shelf for about 6 months because she never liked the song. She didn't like the arrangement. And yet it was the biggest selling song that she ever had. Bigger than My Secret Love, and I didn't do that one.
No.
But I did Everybody Loves a Lover. Do you remember that one? Everybody.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I do remember that, yes. Now, you also, people recognize your name at the end of a film or something. It says music by Devol, and that's you. They would never connect you with this guy who was doing Shake Your Booty on Fernwood Tonight.
Yeah.
What films have you been scoring lately? You got to be careful how you use that word. You've been scoring a lot lately in Hollywood.
Yeah, right after that other thing.
With Harry, and then we had a drug thing the other night, but this is musical we're talking.
Yeah, music. Yeah. Well, the last one I scored was a picture which didn't do too good. It was it had mud wrestling in it. Women wrestling in the mud, you know. It was called All the Marbles.
I remember that was just recently.
Yes, that was just recently.
How do you score a film?
That just laid there.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With the girls.
Oh, yeah. How do you score a film? They give you a film. They say, Mr. Devol, go home and write music to this. How the heck do you start? What do you do?
Well, it's a long process, one that I don't really think you could get all in here. But actually what happens is the director sits down with you and you view the picture. Then he has a few scenes that he feels need help. They generally say, this scene cries for music. That's the standard thing, those words. And then he says, I'd like to have music here and here. And then you are given the film, and then you can pick out any other places that you want to do music, or you may argue about leaving out the music at certain places. Then it's given to a music editor. Well, first of all, you decide where the scene will start, music starts, and where it will end, and you go through the whole film like that, because it isn't just 2 hours of music. And then it's given to a music editor, and he times to 1/10 of a second from the start to the finish of each cue. And so you have a complete breakdown. It's better than a script because a script doesn't tell you how a scene, how the background looks, how their costuming is, how a line is said.
This sounds very technical. A lot of upside-down golf clubs and tic-tac-toe marks, you know, that I, being not musical, don't understand. How long does it take to score?
I thought you did while you was talking.
Vaguely, yes. Yeah. I know titles and tunes, you know. I know all Fats Domino's catalog, and about there my musical education stops. How long does it take you to score a film?
Well, actually, with the way time goes, any given amount, because they use up your time. It used to be you got 10 weeks, 15 weeks to do a film.
Well,
Now, if they call up and say, we have a 45-minute music in this film, and we have 2 weeks, you say, I'll take it.
Then what kind of a schedule do you go on to write?
Well, my schedule's peculiar. Instead of getting up, or rather staying up late at night, you know, and having a couple drinks or something like that, I like to go to bed about 7 o'clock and set the alarm for 11:30 p.m., and then I get up when it's quiet and I go out and work, and sometimes by 8 o'clock when it's time to take my walk, I find I wrote more music than I really knew. In other words, I'm serious about that. Some of it I wish I hadn't written, but, you know, I mean...
You've done a lot of acting, too. You're currently on, what, The Jeffersons?
Well, I'm sort of a recurring character. I play Sammy the songwriter on that. Typecasting.
And when did you first start acting? You've done a lot of things, even again, that I didn't know. You go back to Doris Day's TV series?
No, I wasn't in that.
You done that? Put that aside with Frank Sinatra's.
Right.
That's a good credit on that.
Strike that off over there.
Doris Day. But you were on some series.
Well, I was on I'm Dickens, He's Fenster with John Aston and the guy that married Shirley Jones, Marty Ingalls.
Marty Ingalls,
yeah, Marty
yes.
was on that.
I think you have a few more credits coming. Can you stay a few minutes? Because Ian Whitcomb is coming up. You know, he's the musical historian.
I see.
He goes way, way, way back. I mean, I don't know as far back as your era, but I mean, he goes way back. We'll be right back with another Renaissance man, as he prefers to be called, of the music world, Ian Whitcomb. That should be interesting. You do have a few minutes.
All long to go. It's Hollywood.